All around us, right now, there's this invisible force at play. It's shaping our technology, it's guiding travelers, it's even just holding notes to our refrigerators. So today, in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on the invisible, but absolutely incredible world of magnets.
So, let me ask you something. Picture this. You're lost at sea. It's pitch black. No moon, no stars, nothing. How in the world do you find your way home? Now, this wasn't just a fun thought experiment for ancient sailors. This was a very real life-or-death situation. And their solution, their secret weapon, it wasn't some fancy map. It was a rock. A special, kind of mysterious stone they called a lodestone, which is really just a naturally occurring magnet. This simple object held the key to survival. So what is it about this stone? What's the secret? Let's dive in and really take a closer look at this invisible power we call magnetism.
Okay, so you've got this mysterious force. Does it affect everything? I mean, think about a regular magnet you have at home. What does it actually stick to? Is it just anything and everything?
Well, as it turns out, magnets are actually kind of picky. They'll snap right onto an iron nail or a steel paperclip, no problem. But they completely ignore things like a plastic ruler or a rubber eraser. In this little distinction, this pickiness, it gives us our first really important idea: magnetic materials. We're talking about things like iron, nickel, and cobalt. These are the things that are drawn to magnets, while most other stuff just isn't. This simple property is really the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about.
All right, so we know magnets are selective, but what about their power? Is it spread out evenly across the whole thing? Like, if you took a bar magnet and dipped it in a pile of iron filings, would they just coat the entire surface?
What actually happens is so much cooler. You get this beautiful pattern. The filings show you that the force isn't spread out at all. It's super concentrated in two very specific spots, right at the ends of the magnet.
And these points of power, they have a name. We call them the poles. Every single magnet has two of them, a north pole and a south pole. And that's where all the magic happens. It's a non-negotiable rule of magnetism.
Okay, so we have poles. How does that connect back to our sailors? How do these poles perform a magnet's most famous trick, finding true north? So here's where it gets wild. If you take a magnet, balance it perfectly, maybe just hang it from a piece of string, and let it spin freely, it doesn't just stop wherever. Nope. Every single time, without fail, it will settle down pointing in the exact same direction.
Which, of course, leads to the biggest question of them all. Why? I mean, what invisible hand is at work here, pushing and pulling this little magnet so that it always points along a north-south line?
And the answer is, well, it's genuinely mind-blowing. That little magnet in your hand, it's not acting alone. It's lining itself up with a much, much bigger magnet, the Earth. Our entire planet acts like one gigantic bar magnet. That is the invisible hand guiding the compass.
So realizing the Earth is a magnet explains the compass. But what happens when you bring two regular magnets close to each other? Well, that's when we get to see the fundamental laws of how these things interact.
It all comes down to one simple, powerful rule. Opposites attract and like poles repel. So if you bring a north pole and a south pole together, they'll snap right to each other. But try to force two north poles together and you'll literally feel them pushing each other away.
And this is where it gets really fun to play with. You can tape magnets to a couple of toy cars, right? If you set them up so the same poles are facing each other, you could actually use one car to push the other one all the way across the table without ever touching it. It feels like magic, but it's just physics.
Now that we've got the rules down, let's bring it all together. Because you don't need some fancy science lab to see this power in action. You can actually make your own magnetic device right now, at home.
This is just so cool. If you take a plain old iron needle and stroke it with a magnet, and you have to do it in the same direction over and over, you're basically forcing all the tiny magnetic parts inside the metal to line up. You are literally turning a regular object into a magnet. Then you float it on a cork, and what happens? It swings around and points north-south, aligning with the Earth's magnetic field. You've just made a working compass.
But here's the thing. This magnetic magic, well, it's not indestructible. Magnets are powerful, but they can also be weakened.
So there are a few key rules you've got to follow to handle them correctly.
Really, the goal is to protect their internal structure. If you drop, hammer, or heat magnet, you're just scrambling up all those tiny domains we worked so hard to align, which basically erases its power. That's why you store them in pairs, with opposite poles together. It reinforces their fields. And it probably goes without saying, but those same powerful fields can mess with your electronics, so you definitely want to keep them far apart.
From that simple lodestone that guided sailors across entire oceans, to the super complex magnets inside our computers, our speakers, and even medical equipment, this invisible force is absolutely everywhere. So I'll just leave you with this one question. Take a look around. Now that you know what to look for, how many magnets can you find just quietly shaping the world around you?